Hey everybody, I'm Dale Perry and I'm the designer of the Ringer Release and Gravedigger Broadheads. I'm doing this video today so you can get a better working knowledge of the Ringer Release and how it works. We've had great feedback from our pro staff and stuff, and now that we're bringing it out on the market, there's been a lot of question on how the adjustability is and how it works. So let me go through some of the stuff. This is our packaging. Basically, it has the release in front. This is in black. It'll also have red. The wrist strap is included inside. So let me get started on that. Wrist strap will come like this. It's a Scott wrist strap. So we'll put that over here. I have another one here that's already out of the package and undone. The release is here. So we'll put that right here. Put this to the side. Our packaging comes with instructions inside, and you'll be able to zoom in on this in a minute. The instructions will come inside, and it has the trigger travel adjustments, and it'll have spring tension adjustments and how to change the spring. On the back, there'll be a QR code so you can scan the website. It takes you right to our website, gives you more information. And we will be putting a QR code here on the front that will link you to this video. So we'll put that to the side. Okay, let's look at the release. The Ringer Release is a ring finger release, hence the name. You can shoot it with the wrist strap, which is how we'll show you in a minute, or you can shoot it with the thumb peg. This hole right here is for the thumb peg, and that we will also show you. That'll be sold separately. So basically, the Ringer Release is a two-finger release with your firing it with your ring finger with the trigger here. To give you an idea, we'll do a short little demonstration, but you can pull it back with two fingers, keep your finger here, anchor, and then just pull through the release. So let's go over adjusting the sear. Simple Allen wrench set. Your smallest Allen wrench is usually a 50 thousandths, which is what our sear is. Sear screw. The sear screw is located inside the second finger. This is your sear and trigger travel. You're taking your 50 thousandths Allen wrench and you're putting pressure on the hook with your finger, and you're going to take this down, and basically you're compressing the trigger until that trigger just unlatches right there. So you can see it's barely latched. And what I'd like you to do is get this back in that Allen wrench and take it out a minimum of 1/2 turn. I just tightened it up. And take this out a minimum of 1/2 turn. I would like, for most people to start, I would recommend 3/4 of a turn to 1 full turn. At 1 full turn, the trigger travel is barely noticeable, but for the discerning target guys, they're going to feel that trigger just a little bit more than the average guy does. I shoot mine at 3/4 of a turn out. So that gives you your trigger travel. So let's turn it over and look at your spring adjustment. Your spring adjustment is this screw right here, and basically you're going to take your Allen wrench and you can adjust the spring tension by screwing this screw in. Screwing this screw in, it's going to compress that spring in there and make that a little bit harder spring to spring in. So let me show you how to change this spring. When this screw is flush with the back of the release, whatever spring is in there will be at its weakest point because it's at its longest point. Basically, all you're doing is you're taking this screw out, which is just a set screw. Probably should close this. Screw out, the spring will drop out very easily. Bring this back so you can see it. It's right here. You can switch springs to the lighter spring, but look, for this purpose we'll just put the spring back in. It drops in the hole. This screw is tapered so it lines up the spring each time. Flush, and there you go. That's how you adjust the sear and the spring tension on the ringer release. Out of it. So those are the two simplest things. To shoot it with a thumb peg, basically all you're doing is, and then this becomes personal preference. I like my peg up. I'm left-handed, so if you didn't notice that already, I put the peg up like this so the connector is on the bottom. Uses the same Allen as it does the back screw. Screw it down. Have a little bit of adjustment there. Oops, screwed it too tight. Okay, so I've set my hand so it's right here, so my thumb goes right in the joint. Take it, put it there, tighten it down, and with the thumb peg, that's the motion that you have. Okay, so I pull it back like this, I have my thumb peg in it, get my finger on the trigger, and then just pull through it. It's as simple as that. Now, shooting it without the thumb peg, which is how I prefer to shoot the release. My hands aren't as strong as some of you young guys. But you're just going to take your Scotch strap, comes with this. So next Allen up. Going to unscrew these screws a bit, almost to where they're almost all the way out. Makes it a little bit easier to get the strap in there. Set the strap this way. Make sure you have, for the left-handed guys, your palm will go over the writing. It says Ringer No Limit Archery. For the right-handed guys, that will be down. So me being left-handed, I'm going to put my strap through here. We'll cut all this out and then we'll come right back to you. Okay, we're back. So I've got it all tightened up, and one of the things is length and how it fits an individual person. The release is going to feel like it sits back in your hand like this when you have a wrist strap on. But when you tighten that wrist strap out, your fingers lay into those grooves, and that's about where you want it to sit, is in these pads here. So when this finger comes around to the trigger, you're pulling on it on the pad. So I'll put the wrist strap on so you can get a feel for where we're at. So you can see how the release actually sits in my palm. It's back here. But when you come to shoot it, it sits on those fingers. So you're pulling with your wrist strap, you're pulling with your fingers barely, settling it in and pulling through it again. Okay? So I actually have this set pretty tight from before. Let me adjust that spring back a little bit for my liking. So I bought the heavy spring back to flush, and basically it's the same thing. You're relaxing your hands and pulling through the release. We've had different people punch the release, and how it helped me was I couldn't aim. I would get there, and as soon as the pin got there, I was this guy. As soon as the pin, I'd be like this, I'd be like that, and I would punch it. Which, a lot of people can shoot that way. It was really hard for me to do that. So what I learned is if I wanted to go off, because this was designed in a hunting application, if I wanted to go off, I already have my finger on it. All I'm doing is basically just closing my hand. So I can command the trigger if I need to, but I'm commanding it from a place that I'm comfortable with. I know it's not going to go off like drawing a certain, like different back tensions that don't have safeties, and that's why a lot of people have gone to the safety. We'll do a little short demonstration of the shot actually going off, and so you can get an idea of where we're at. Okay, we're back, and as promised, we're going to fire a couple shots inside the studio, so be very short shots. But I'm going to first demonstrate the release with the wrist strap, and this is again how I shoot it. So, but it's individually. But if you notice, my fingers are about where my pads are on the wrist strap, a little bit bent hand until I come to full draw, and you'll see that hand straighten out. I draw it with my fingers out. Some people do it with their fingers behind and bring them forward. I can't do that because my hands aren't big enough. So I draw it with my fingers out. Come to full draw. Basically get anchored. Get your finger on the trigger. And you'll notice my finger's on the trigger and it's not going off because I'm not putting any pressure on it. But basically all I'm going to do is pull through it. You didn't see my finger move. Can I make it go off? Yes, I can. But let me demonstrate that one more time. Again, coming to full draw, getting set, relaxing my finger, and pulling through it. So, you get the general idea. We're back with the thumb peg style. Same release, just with the thumb peg. You're going to hook it on. I use the thumb peg to help me draw it back. My hands aren't as strong, so I don't shoot a thumb peg very often. But drawing it back, getting set, same principle, and just pulling through it. What this does, I'll do one more shot so you guys can get an idea. It lets you aim without worrying about when it's going off. And if you need it to go off in a hunting situation or if it's windy, it gives you the ability to do that without coming out of form. I hope that covers everything. Again, the sear travel is trigger travel and sear engagement is critical. You need to be at least a half turn out for those to lock up consistently. If you're playing with it a lot, I suggest that you take, once you get it to set to the, or you're going to get it set, play with it a little while, find out what that adjustment is, maybe take that sear trigger adjustment screw out, put a little blue Loctite on it, not the really heavy Loctite because you'll never be able to get it out, and get it on there and make sure. The spring tension, you can do the same thing, but the spring screw is always under pressure from the spring, so it shouldn't really be going anywhere. So those are the two things that make the ringer release different than others. So we'll have some other videos online on how it's shot, and I hope you enjoy your release. Thank you very much.